Okay, you can see that this is nearly full. And I'm going to put some stuff in there. This is granulated sugar, and this is brown sugar. This is cardamom. We'll talk about spices some other day, and cinnamon. All right, so being a maverick, you don't measure, so you're going to have to take a risk here. You don't know how sweet they are or how they'll cook. Granulated sugar thing. Maybe this is intimidating. You don't know how much I put in there. Especially a rookie might not know. I get it. We'll talk about this next video. No worries. Okay, now, also here, a bunch of this. Ricky loves it. Hi, Ricky. Ricky will probably put even more than that. Okay, there we go. Then we toss it. The reason it's not completely full is so that it doesn't fall all over the place when I do this to it. Get the sugar and stuff, coating all the stuff. That, no, maybe it's good enough, it's good enough. Put these guys in to sort of fill it out because it wasn't entirely full. Now, from experience, this is probably not on the overly sweet side. So this is where you get to be a tester and realize you can always do another one. And in this case, we only used 7 apples, 7 to slice for that size. Go. Okay. All right, now's the tricky bit. That's the oven getting ready. It's now at 350. Now what? Now we make the topping. And you may need to see this refrigerator. This is like the stove in its own unique way. You got a picture of it before, but it's amazing. It's huge. Now, there you are. No judging. I bet your refrigerator looks like this too. No problem. Okay. All right then, we got some really actually very nice flour. The flour will make a difference, I've noticed. So if you buy gold medal flour at the store, it'll be one way. If you go and get some fresh, like at a health store or something, it'll be another way. Okay, now you need the film crew to come over and watch this particular thing go in the bowl. This is where it takes bravery. This is how we're measuring it. And don't worry, for the rookies, you can realize that you're not, all is not lost. We'll give you some stabilizing measurements so you get the idea. Okay, there's that. Same with the sugar. Now in this case, it depends on how sweet you want this thing. You could have almost none and be like a pie crust, or quite a bit, it's like a cookie. There's the flour. Here's a little, granulated sugar gives nice, kind of a little bit crispy. You know, a couple tablespoons. Looks like about 1.5 cups of flour. Just saying, we'll see. Okay, and then there's the brown sugar will make it softer, more like a cookie. Go. Is this boring yet? This is where we could speed it up. We could speed this up and everything. I personally, having baked a million things, like a little salt in stuff like this. So in this case, there's about how much I would do. All right, now you get to open your magic refrigerator. For a pie this size, I almost always use about 1 stick. So this is like, you know, if you haven't added if you've added a certain amount of flour, then you'll get a dry one. And if you've added less flour, you get a sort of buttery one. You can see what you like. So if you mix this stuff together, you'll be able to get the lumps of brown sugar to mix in, and the salts will be evenly in there. I took this right out of the refrigerator. You can use it softer than right out of the refrigerator. Right out of the refrigerator will be more like a pie. Softer will be more like a cookie. The principle here being that, unlike other kinds of pastries, you want the butter to get coated by the dry stuff. And then in the end you'll get this like flaky thing going on where the butter isn't entirely throughout, it's melting in layers with the flour. It gives a nice pastry. Okay, now this takes a little time. We'll probably have to go faster. Okay, so meanwhile the chef, the film crew might like to come over and just watch the beginning here. I've cut it, as you saw, into like little slabs, like so. And then you'll see I've got the slabs in there, and you don't want them that big. In fact, you're going to be breaking these guys up like so, but in the flour. And some people, I guess, cut it, but I always do use my hands. And I would say, kind of like what they say, and it seems to be true, pea size, like pea size. Now see, this is what takes time. So you can either film this entire thing and then make it, we're just saying, and especially if it's cold. The colder it is naturally, the longer this takes. It could be you want to see it when it's about right, finished, to give an idea of what it looks like in the bowl. This is close. The butter's a little bit on the large side. You can see that, and you can see probably how it's getting like peas-ish. Now another way you can test, and you'll learn quite a lot, is if you do this. If it kind of holds together, then it's getting there. So this is not a big deal. A little bigger, a little smaller, no big problem. Okay, now you get to watch this fun part. There's different ways I do this. Holding the bowl over the apples is always useful. You'll see I'm just going to try and sprinkle it evenly on there. And then you get in a hurry and you do that. Okay, then what? Okay, so just like try and even it out like all around like so. Okay, now there's that. And you've been smart enough to, in your house, you probably have hot running water. In this house, which is a little bit like a cabin, we heat the water. So I can do it, you can do it. There we go. Okay. And then don't burn yourself if you do it this way. You gotta get that grease off. Okay. Ow. Okay, now, professional touches, I call them. One professional touch that some people might like is sprinkle of sugar on top. Makes it, kind of like a sugar cookie up there. I don't like that as much. But this, cinnamon again, it's Ricky's, he likes it. Makes it pretty. And this is the secret ingredient. We'll talk about why this particular one is so fancy. This is ground cardamom. Not as much as the cinnamon. Don't put as much. Okay, there we are. Now you see the before picture. Now we pop it in. If you're lucky enough to have a fancy thing like this, you set the timer. Okay, this one turns off all by itself after an hour. So 60 minutes, and we're done. So what we'll do is we'll come back, look at the after, and maybe even hear about how it is. So, thank you for coming.